Welcome to the Progressive Vibe Podcast. I'm your host, Dodrick. Today's date is June 12th, 2022. This is Season 6, Episode 12, Americans Radaring New Establishment Push. So it should be a very intriguing show today, guys. We are going to discuss the reasons why dozens and growing number of Democratic officials believe that Biden should not run for a second term. To help break that down, we get into an article produced by Radar that reads Crisis Talks as Democrats desperately try to convince President Joe Biden to end bid for second term. A few quick programming notes before we get into today's podcast. Thank you to the listeners of the Progressive Vibe Podcast for showing tons of love and support to the show, whether that's by liking the podcast on social, sharing the podcast on social, or personally donating to the show. It all helps sustain future episodes and gives us a bigger voice to the issues that matter to all of us. You, the listeners, make that happen, and I cannot thank you guys enough for what you do. Also, the Progressive Vibe Podcast is anywhere you can listen and download podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, the award app-winning Good Pods, Anchor. We are on pretty much every platform you can, again, listen and download podcasts. So tell a friend, tell us to check us out. That'll be great. Also, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, you can do this at Dottie_Vibe. That's DODI_VIBE. And on my Twitter page, guys, it's a link tree that you can hit, and it will take you to everything to do with the Progressive Vibe Podcast. If you want the direct name to the link, it is linktree/TP Vibe. But again, if you would like to follow me on Twitter, on my page, it is a link that you can hit, and it'll take you to the Facebook page, the Twitter page, our website, all that good stuff. So that's very fun. Also, I need to add in our Twitch page because, yes, the Progressive Vibe Podcast has a Twitch page now, and it is the same name as my Twitter handle, which is Dottie_Vibe. So please, if you haven't, follow the channel on Twitch at Dottie_Vibe. It's not going to be like a podcast right now. Maybe it'll be like that in the future, but right now it's just random stuff. My last video, unfortunately, that I didn't save. I was doing reactions on Karen's, and it was very fun. It was probably like a 30-minute video, but unfortunately it didn't save. But I've changed the setting now that once I do decide to go live, it will publish. So again, check the Progressive Vibe Podcast out on Twitch, and to do that, just search at Dottie_Vibe. Please give the page a like. That'll be great, guys. On that note, let's get into today's show. Hey, guys, welcome to the main show. So let's get right into this article. Again, this article was produced by Radar Online, and the title reads Crisis Talks as Democrats desperately try to convince President Joe Biden to end bid for a second term. Pretty interesting stuff here. Let's get right into it. It goes to read, Democratic officials are secretly plotting to convince President Joe Biden to stand aside and denounce his intention to run in 2024. Dozens of frustrated officials, including members of Congress, have turned on Biden and don't believe he can rescue the ruling party and take the fight to Republicans. It goes on to read, the dramatic infighting behind the scenes was exposed in a bombshell report from the New York Times that cited, quote, nearly 50 Democratic officials from county leaders to members of Congress who all agreed they were extraordinarily pessimistic about an immediate path forward. Displeased Democrat power brokers believed repeated failures in passing legislation, 4-decade high inflation rates, and surging gas prices are to blame for Biden's approval rating nosedive. It says, as RadarOnline.com has previously reported, frustrations and tensions within the White House have grown as the hopes of a Biden political revival grow more unlikely. The Biden administration is currently overwhelmed by a number of challenges, including soaring inflation, fuel prices, the ongoing war in Ukraine, the potential Supreme Court reversal of Roe versus Wade, and a country divided over gun safety legislation. With midterm elections quickly approaching, the clock is ticking for Mr. Biden to prove to the nation that he can overcome the challenges plaguing his first term in office. The New York Times said sources it quoted were, quote, reluctant to speak on the record about Mr. Biden's future. No one interviewed expressed any ill will towards Mr. Biden, the Times said, to whom they are universally grateful for ousting Trump from office, end quote. It goes on to say that those Democrats who were brave enough to speak out did mince words in their damning indictment on the Biden administration. This was a quote from Steve Simiadias, a Democratic National Committee member from Miami. He said, quote, to say our country was on the right track would flagrantly depart from reality. I gotta agree with Steve there. He also said, quote, Biden should announce his intent not to seek reelection in 2024 right after the midterms. And the last little bit right here, guys, it says Biden has repeatedly said that he expects to run again in 2024, an indignant position that sets up a showdown between one of the party's legendary figures and this stuck out to me, new establishment. Now, a quick word from our sponsors. When we come back, we will discuss. Hey guys, welcome back from the break. So let's get right into this discussion. I really think that this was a telling article produced by Radar Online News, because it shows that there is a, to me, healthy confrontation within the Democratic Party, because you have the old establishment um, going against the new establishment Dems. And right before we ended that first segment, I said it was a pair of words that stuck out to me, and that is new establishment. And I'm digging the Democrat officials that are honestly talking about how Biden shouldn't run for a second term. I'm glad that this is happening. Now, I would be even more enthusiastic if it was names attached to these statements, but this is good because now we're having a discussion of there is a healthy infighting within the Democratic Party over the new establishment or over the old establishment and the new establishment. Because I'm going to let Biden in on something. I'm going to let him and his administration in on something. Your first term was horrible. It was horrible. And the reason why it was horrible is because stuff that you campaigned on before you became president, you have not delivered. You have not delivered. And thus your approval rating has suffered. The decline within your own party is showing. You know you're not getting any help or won't get any help from the Republican Party unless you have policies that the overwhelmingly majority of Americans in this country, regardless if you are Democrat or Republican, if you incorporated those policies, if you actually worked to pass those policies, you would see your approval rating, your administration approval rating rise within Americans abroad, regardless of a party affiliation. But it suffers because you said this pivotal thing during your, and I'm talking about Biden here. You said a pivotal thing during your presidential run. Nothing will fundamentally change. And that stuck out to me. That stuck out to me. That stuck out to a lot of Americans out there, that you weren't going to fundamentally change anything. Don't worry. You can trust me. Nothing will fundamentally change. See, the problem with the Biden administration is they think that this is some type of like sacred situation that's going on here. The American people put you in office because the things that you were saying that you were going to do resonated. And now that you have not passed any of your agenda, only corporate funded pieces of legislation that helps corporations more than they do people. Now that you've not done anything, the party's suffering because of it and will continue to suffer because of it. Will continue to suffer because of the midterm elections that's right around the corner in November. I wouldn't be a bit shocked because I don't think I hope to God that I'm wrong. But I don't think nothing, like Biden said, will fundamentally change for ordinary Americans. I don't think an expansion or universal health care will happen up under the Biden administration. I don't think any type of student loan debt cancellation is going to happen within under the Biden administration. I don't think the necessary climate change policies that we need to implement will be done under the Biden administration. I don't think the federal minimum wage will go up under the Biden administration. The Biden administration won't address the homeless crisis that we have here in the United States. Hell, the Biden administration can't even federally legalize cannabis here in the United States. One of the most obvious bipartisan between American things that you can ever hope for. He can't even do that. Passing one thing that the American people want could potentially save your presidency. It could potentially maintain you power within the House and the Senate. But Biden administration is just solely concerned on not stepping on the Republican Party's toes. They want to make sure that they are asking the Republican Party for bipartisan support in the issues that the country face and things that the American people, again, regardless of Republican or Democrat, want. That's how you speak to the Republican base. You implement things that both sides agree on, and you go from there. And you stop worrying about your Republican colleagues and actually start giving a damn about the people on the ground. And again, two words that stuck out to me within that article that we read in the first segment: new establishment. It's time for a new system. It's time for a new type of establishment within the Democratic Party. I can't speak to the Republican Party, you know, but I feel like I can speak to the Republican voters. Not all of them, but I feel like that we, again, policy wise, a better economy, more economic opportunity for ordinary Americans, um, universal health care, legalizing cannabis, things that people actually want. We need a new type of establishment within the Democratic Party who are going to push for these type of things. And it's very important that, even though it's super hard, I know, because I stay in Alabama. The Alabama primaries was a month ago. It's hard for me to go vote because I already know the outcome. But it's important that we continue to push for that greater good when it comes to our electoral process, when it comes to actually having people to represent their constituency. That's the only way. Organizing, being strategic, making sure that we plan to go do um what we plan out to do, which is vote. Making sure that we read up on people's backgrounds, making sure that people actually voted on things that they say that they're actually campaigning for, making sure that their record holds. And I know it's a tedious process, guys, but it's a necessary one, because I promise you, when things do change for the better within all of our lives, regardless if you are Republican or Democrat, white, black, once that happens, it's going to be easier and easier to vote. It's going to be easier and easier to want to go out and um, express your constitutional right. I just want everyone to live their dream out, their American dream, even if you don't stay in America. I want things to be right on the book, policy wise, structure wise, that people flourish, that people benefit within their society. But it takes a overhaul on this capitalistic system that we living under right now. Because I got news for you. the current system that we are living under is not benefiting anyone. It's damn sure not benefiting ordinary Americans. Only people that it's benefiting are the people at the top. And we can't expect the Biden administration to push for the necessary change that most Americans are looking for. He's just not going to do anything because he's a corporatist. He's a corporate Democrat. He's a corporate politician. He does what his donors want him to do. He votes or he pushes for policies that more so benefit corporations' interests than ordinary Americans' interests. And the reason that I'm right, what has he passed for the American people? To structurally benefit ordinary Americans' lives. Now he said that. He said stuff on his campaign trails, but when it comes to actually pushing and making a law of the land, he doesn't do anything. And the numbers that I'm about to provide for you guys is from the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Research. These numbers should alarm the corporate Democrats. And if I was a new establishment Democrat, if I was a progressive, I would be talking to the Biden administration about this and let them know that the reason that your approval numbers are horrendous amongst the public and even horrible in your own party is because you're not doing anything that the majority of Americans elect you in office for. It's just that simple. But apparently, it's not as simple as it seems for the Biden administration. So here's the numbers. Again, this is according to a poll from the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Research. It says only 39% of U.S. adults approve of Biden's performance as president. 39%. Overall, only about 2 in 10 adults say the U.S. is heading in the right direction or the economy is good, both down from about 3 in 10 a month earlier. These drops were concentrated among Democrats with just 33% within the president's party saying the country is heading in the right direction, down from 49% in April. Ahead of midterms, his approval amongst Democrats is at about 73%, a substantial drop since earlier in his presidency. In AP-NORC polls conducted in 2021, Biden's approval rating among Dems never dropped below 82%. So that's about a 10-point swing in the wrong direction for the Biden administration. Here's a few more numbers from the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Research. There are obvious signs of dissatisfaction within or with the Biden administration on the handling of the economy. It says just 18% of Americans say Biden's policies have done more to help than hurt the economy. 18%, guys. down slightly from 24% in March. So it was horrible in March. It's just worse now. It goes on to say 51% say they've done more to hurt than help. So that's the majority of the country, regardless of party affiliation. While 30% say they haven't made much of a difference either way. Now, these numbers right here are specifically numbers from the Democratic Party or Democratic voters who say Biden's policies have done more to help. It dipped from 45% to 37%, though just 18% say they've done more to hurt, while 44% say they've made no difference either way. So those numbers should be alarming again to the Biden administration. Whether it creates a push for actual policy change, I highly doubt it. But it goes to show you not just the Republicans are disapproving of the Biden administration. His own party is. His own party is. And if Biden again wants to, because he always continues to search for this imaginary bipartisanship from his Republican colleagues on the other side, if you really want to bring the country together, how about you start pushing for the policies that the overwhelmingly majority of Americans, regardless of party affiliation, want? That's my message from the Biden administration, and that seems to be the message for Americans, the majority of Americans in this country. And to really put a bow on it, Democratic officials are even discussing potential potential narratives around his administration that, hey, you might not need to run for a second term. Right now, it's seeming like Biden, you should not run for a second term. But we gotta stay tuned to see how everything shakes out. It's only June. Midterms are slowly approaching. This year has been super fast already. 2022 has been super fast. So again, it's going to be November before we know it. But how the Biden administration has been currently handling things has not been good, and it's not been encouraging. But when we come back, guys, we will have the social media break of the show. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome to the social media break of the show. If you would like to follow me on Twitter, you can do this at Dottie_Vibe. That's DODI_VIBE. Let's get into some of these tweets. The first one here is from MIA. She says that mental health is real. You never know what a person is going through. That's so true. Mental health is the real deal, y'all. So, especially right now, and how the world is right now. So it's really important that, you know, if you have a hobby that you enjoy doing, whether that's like mine, for example, to help my mental health, I love exercising. I think that is a stress reliever, and it feels like I'm able to relax when I'm exercising. So whatever you guys got to do to stay sane in this insane world right now, do it, you know. And I hope everyone has someone who they can reach out to if they're going through a mental health crisis. That's very important too, to have people in your corner that you know you can talk to in your moment of need. Let's go on through another one. Let's go to another one. Nina Turner says on Twitter, $2,000 a month relief checks are still a good policy. Yeah, it is. It is. People are still trying to get back on their feet, especially after or still slash during the ongoing pandemic. And with rising inflation, gas prices, groceries, rent, an assist from, our government would be helpful, but that takes non-corrupt politicians being in Congress for that to happen. So good luck on that. Let's go to another one. Miss Sweet Cakes, aka Sweets, says on Twitter, remember, Sundays are just for resting and relaxing. Make sure you get some of it. Hashtag lazy Sunday. I like that. Indeed. I actually did a little house cleaning today. It was needed, but getting up and doing going through that whole process, it's a whole another job, let me tell you. Last one here, guys. This is from Nina Turner also. She says, are gas prices high because of the war in Ukraine, or are big oil companies using the war in Ukraine to price gouge and recoup the profits they lost at the beginning of the pandemic? Gives you something to think about. That's a good point by Nina. That's going to wrap up the social media break of the show. I hope you did enjoy. When we come back, we will be closing out the show. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back from the break. That's going to wrap up today's show on the Progressive Vibe Podcast, Season 6, Episode 12, Americans Radaring New Establishment Push. I hope everyone enjoyed today's content. We will be back next week with a brand new episode. Stay tuned for that. I hope everyone has a great rest of your Sunday and have a great rest of your week. Until then, stay positive out there, stay progressive. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace and love.